Government spokesperson Eylon Levy, thank you very much for joining the programme as well. I want to begin by asking you about the timing of all of this. The Hamas delegation apparently considering or about to start considering President Trump's latest ceasefire proposal. So why were these strikes ordered at this point?
The timing of this attack was after President Trump said that he was giving his last warning to Hamas to release the hostages, and after Hamas rejected that offer. Hamas official Bassem Naim telling Middle East Monitor that disarmament, laying down its arms, was an absolute non-starter. And that means that the ransom negotiations that have been taking place in Doha have not been in good faith. Israel has been willing to pay a very high ransom to get back the hostages who are being starved and tortured in dungeons under Gaza. But that is not enough for Hamas, which has been demanding that it end this war, still in power, still armed, and still able to perpetrate more October 7th massacres, as it has been threatening to do again and again. And every day that Hamas has been dragging out these talks puts the hostages' lives in further danger as they remain starved and tortured in those tunnels underneath Gaza.
We've heard from hostages' families today who say they are trembling with fear tonight because of what has happened, because of what that might mean for their families. Do you think that this move by the Israeli government at this point endangers the hostages further?
I share the hostages' anxiety, the hostage families' anxiety. Every day that the hostages remain trapped in those dungeons in Gaza is a risk to their lives. There is a risk Hamas could execute them. There is a risk that they could die of starvation or under torture. And there is a fierce debate in Israel about how we get the hostages out. The Hostage Families Forum, the main representative body of the hostage families, wants the Israeli government to pay a ransom to get the hostages back and then to worry about fighting Hamas another day. But there is division even among hostage families. Just today, the father of the hostage Eitan Moore said that this brings forward the possibility of bringing the hostages back because it puts the onus on the captors themselves inside Gaza to negotiate individually the hostages' release. And that needs to be the demand from the entire world right now. The people who are holding the hostages need to release them immediately and unconditionally. We should not be having endless ransom negotiations in which Hamas is demanding to remain armed and dangerous inside Gaza so that it can plot another October 7th massacre and take more hostages. It needs to release them now.
We have time briefly, if you would, for one more question, and that is, we've heard from the previous guest, the previous clip we played prior to that, saying that they don't believe that this action today means that Benjamin Netanyahu wants to continue any negotiations. Your response to that?
I think Israel wants to end the war by bringing all the hostages home and removing Hamas from power. Israel wants a ceasefire that achieves that. But the so-called negotiating team in Doha, who were in fact the massacres of this, the masterminds of this horrible war the Middle East has been in the last 2 years, were not negotiating in good faith. They were demanding an end of the war that would leave them in power and armed so that they could attack Israel at a time of their choosing. And the onus is now on the captors inside Gaza to individually negotiate the release of the hostages so they can finally go back to their families.
Eylon Levy, former Israeli government spokesperson, thank you for joining us. I'm joined now